Hello, my dear wild wisdom warriors and my shamans from around the world. Hello and welcome to my journal. This is Lily Kolosova, and today is, guess what? Vino Friday. welcome to my journal, everyone. Vino Friday, welcome. So, I'm going to be talking about weird stuff. So, life, death, and aliens, or is it life, death, and eternity? So that's the topic today. Hi, Timothy. Congratulations on you being sober. That's what you need to do. Hi, Diane. I enjoy wine, so I'm going to have some wine in my reality. So it is what it is. So, but welcome to my journal. So here's to the crazy subject, which is the aliens. So I'm going to bring some aliens into the conversation here. I didn't want to leave our, clowns. Do you think I'm leaving the clowns behind a little bit in my recent journals? Am I not giving them enough attention? So I'm going to give a little bit more attention to our clowns that like to perform the alien tricks. Okay, so yes, fallen angels. Yes, that's what they are. There is a lot more to it, and that's why I talk about. And now we see two different perspectives, because the aliens come into play only in the fallen reality, which is disconnected from living creation or from the living light. So it's as I talk about, it's the death, it's the worship of death. Then is what that whole with fallen angels belief structure. This is what it associates with. And in my journals in the past, I've talked about death cult and what it is and what really worshipped. And then I've talked about black magicians, and then all these other people that use death to trap souls, living souls, into their dead system. Okay, and so this is where I talk about. Then we talk about what religions talk about. It's the possession. Even though I haven't really touched much, you guys, on what possession is. Okay, I just got news. Funny news. Funny news going around. So anyway, you guys, Caesar, of course, sleeping in his bed underneath here, but he is saying hi to everybody. But what I haven't really got into is the possession. What is the possession? And so, and here comes the alcohol and the belief structures and all of that. But I'm here to tell you that when you are a shaman, you are that person that cannot be in the fear of possession, possessed people, or those that, if you are, you're not a shaman. And so for those who, so my journaling is shamanic journey. So I'm going to talk about this because you'll be surprised. Speaking about alcohol, it depends on what whoever is on what their individual journey, because all of our journeys are individual to each, and it's tailored to each individual living soul path. And so that's who is in alignment with creation, with all of the creation. So so basically, this is what I kind of wanted to talk about today is, what happens when people are spiritually are not in alignment with their own higher being. And then if you talk about this, and then this is how do you know? By their fruits you will know them. You'll know who's alien, because those that will be looking for external savior structures, Okay, this is all alien to a human being, to a human heart, because this is where the true transformation happens in this reality, and transmutation happens through the heart on the human level. Okay, so what happens? And this is what then positive and a negative is, that the life force that I talk about, that the life force and that potential for human being as the creator. And then on the other end of that, hi Deanne, hi Timothy. I said hi Pink, hi. Hello Anna, thank you for joining. Angela, thank you for being here. Diane, thank you, darling, for being here. Indigo, thank you. So, life, death, and then now you can see and gain clarity on what I talk about, that conspiracy, the alien conspiracy. And you can sort of go from there and unroll that whole big ball of BS out. You can unroll the whole thing. Okay. So, anyway, so this is what I want to talk about. So, for it's not sort of, and this is why I talk about that in my sessions. When you seeking true healing, you will be seeking to reconcile that life and death ultimately. And this is what all of it, if you really look back, all of the spiritual teachings and even the religious establishment, they all talk about this, after death, or after life, life after, or existence after life, or existence after death. So, what is life? What do we call life? And so, here, when we really look at this from a positive and a negative perspective in just this little reality, and this is why expanding and and your conscious mind, and aligning your conscious mind to your spirit within, that is unfolding through your living soul, through the living codes of light, which is your DNA. Okay. And this is how we express reality here. And this is how it manifests ultimately in this reality, because this is our reality. Okay. So, okay, you guys. So now when you have that perspective only of, okay, there's life and death, and then and what happens when in that dual reality, when is one against another? So it's life against death. So it's not in harmony, but in friction, right? And this is what becomes then the dogma, the religious structures, all of this is what inverts things, because everything inside out, instead of harmonizing life and death process, people go against it and then creates fear. And this is what happens, and why it happens, because of this invasion, genetic invasion, you may say. Okay. The fact is that we have a reptilian DNA, is nothing new, and it's not something to be afraid of, because all it is, it's about, because we know that, right? Your reptilian stem, it serves fundamental structure for your two other brains, and only the misalignment here is what creates that bad or right or wrong and all of that. And that all it says to me, all this dogma does is creates this fear-based, meaning the anti-life, instead of death being presented as continuation of life or a different level of life, because life is energy. It's a life force. This is why we live. When we die, what dies? Nothing disappears, but a few grams maybe. There's even question if that happens. So what happens at death? So we can go into that. And because I can talk about this because I've been dead many, many times. So I've been through that. I observed death many times. I've experienced death many times. So I can talk about this from my perspective. There's all these different levels, and anywhere you take, even in the dogma structure, that all will be present. That means there's also that same sort of levels of reality. You can call it dimensions, or I guess you can call it dimensions, or more, but it's present in the spiritual world, meaning in the living light as life presence. This is why even the Jesus said that the presence of the God is within, because that's the living life force that's given to you by God. That's why they said that the babies are given by God, because the life force is given by God. And this is why I keep talking about that. To those that are operating on that God living light will have enough morals to know that they belong to eternity. Okay? But those that do not have that, do they then don't belong to eternity? Then they're alien to human future. And this is what all this alien thing is all about. And this connects back to our DNA being modified with this third strand. As I give it a nickname because nano tech is something that a lot of people are familiar now, and it's becoming a very familiar thing, even though it may not be, and some people may argue with me that it may not be. But what I talk about is the nano codes, DNA codes. This is what humanity's been sliced with. And then there is, some people that have that third strand fully build or rebuild, takes their two organics, and the third strand, the connecting strand, is all inorganic. So it's just, so you take this. These are the people that on the external will have this extreme self-inflicting punishment. So extreme punishment is what happens when someone is extremely manipulated, genetics extremely manipulated to that degree. I don't know if I'm making sense about this genetically, but it is on the genetic level. So it's like sliced with genetic stuff. And so, and Diane, thank you for helping me find the words for this. Diane Archuleta, darling, thank you. Because today you helped me to find the words for this. How this invasion, this alien invasion, and it presents itself as this alien because that's what it is. It's all techno. It's nanotech. That's what it is. And so now let's see who's it whose anchor in eternity then that possesses this individual power to operate a reality through this connection to a higher self, through within, meaning being operating, maybe, okay, call it a Christ consciousness, I don't know, but this is the equilibrium that I talk about, that the human being operates, then that the two brains work in harmony, and then the reptilian stem then does its of connect, does what it's originally needs to do in the body, is that energy that goes that way, then it's properly, then if it's properly operated, this is what I'm saying. Once your reptilian DNA is what is got infected. Okay, so once you restructure that DNA, okay, and even if it is let's say of nano, even so, this is for those people that have that and they know that their third strand is fully technological. Okay, they're not just sliced but technological. So what happens? Okay, there's nothing, they're fully disconnected, and they can have access to the living source energy unless they take it one way or another from another human being. And then this is why I call them vampires, because you guys watch a lot of movies, and there you have it. The whole concept is all of the spiritual nature of and it does. And even in my oh my god, was it 2017, December of 2017, in one of my actually q decoding little videos. Now all these years later, now all these q decoders, you want to still question me, little bitches? Hi, Amy. They're infiltrated. Well, they made it. Diane, you had a good question. I'm going to come back to it, okay? But anyway, let me finish this kind of sort of, So it's not like, so I'm going to get into it, but restructuring, when you can pass through the fear, meaning with that pressure point that I talk about, and even Castaneda talk about the pressure point that you go through, and this is how you can then, by activating your own, as I talk about, by operating your own center being, meaning you're connected this 3 points, 3 major points in your, and so that offers that equilibrium for you, for this reality. And so what happens is, so this is like a living strand then, and there is actually and this living strand, then it does not operate like a regular, like our 2 infected strands, because we have 2 strands that are both infected, and then the third strand see, it's either living or fully inorganic. And that's where the difference is, actually, with those that can make it out of this reality or will never make it out of this reality. And like I said, dust to dust, those are the dust to dust, that timeline. And so that whole thing, you can never re-enter into the world that is of a mixed nature. And this is what we had here, mixed nature, like a mixed thing. And so this was the question, Diane. Do people know they are infiltrated with that third DNA strand? And this is how you can find out, and what that has to do. The infiltration take place during And this is when it happens on the spiritual level. It happens during the blood sacrifice rituals. And this is why those that have a fully nano strand, as I call it, I just call it nano strand. So when they have a nano strand, they can't self-generate life. They live in on the borrowed energy, because that nanostrand cannot self run. It needs energy to run itself. And this is why it creates that vampiric state of being. Okay? And this is why. But that happens on that level. So that's why it's kind of difficult to explain about that third strand, because some people are just infected with it, and all of that stuff. And then I talk about the blood also being infected with the nano, the other form of the same sort. And this is how then what I talked about, that in sort of a possession happens, because it actually, when it's in your body, it reflects on the negative side, and things like that. And so then it becomes like a mirror of you, and that it's just like a broken mirror type of thing. It's just very hard to explain how this operates, because it's like pieces, technological pieces, that are, it's nanotech. I don't know how, I don't have words for it, you guys, at all. But you'll understand. And this is why you will talk like all this ancient teachings, when even Nakamadi library, the recent one from 1945, those teachings, and you'll see, if you read it now, you'll see how extremely technological it is, in which way that it explains reality from all this different perspective. And then there is an invasion of human consciousness. And so, Amy, might be, you said, are there nanobots in Starbucks drinks? Yeah, because those are also attached themselves to your nervous system. And this is how they can trigger all kinds of things. And because of those, actually, this is how people are triggered in suicide and all of that stuff. If that technology is actually delivered, for the most part, not just the drinks, maybe that's why I can't stand Starbucks. Can't stand it. I drink coffee, but I can't stand it for some reason, and I don't know why. So it could be that. But I love coffee. Love coffee. um but anyway, that delivery, and I talk about it, mostly gets done through pharma. And this is your and mostly it's the antidepressant and all of those things. This is how they all of that, and this is how they're able to manipulate people emotions through their, that those attachments and all of that stuff. And this is why people can feel not themselves, like they can blame, you know oh, demon told me to do this, or you know nanobots can present themselves as angels. Hello, Archangel Michael, Archangel this, Archangel this. And they're all, remember when there was oh my god, when New Age was so overdosing itself on channelings. Remember that? Oh my god, channelings. Remember that? Everybody was overdosing on those channelings, and they're all channeling this and that. And this basically, that's what it is. It's all techno crap. It presents itself, whatever. It'll structure itself, it'll mirror whatever belief structure you have in your and this is what I used to in the past call that they use pineal tech, which is a reading which is reading your thoughts all the time, and this is what it is. It's also in your brain. And so this is why when they inject black goo, they inject it into the gut and they inject some into the brain when they do black goo treatments for MK Ultra people. Okay? This is why they do it in the brain too. And this is when then people can literally they can orchestrate an alien abduction in their head and all of that stuff. So those that have black goo treatment then are the ones that are out there talking about seeing aliens, having contracts with alien working with aliens, helping like what this guy was saying about one of the guys here in Colorado, Peter. I'm just not gonna give you a last name yet. So Peter calls me and he talks about how he helps Teal Swan on astral levels. And so, boom, then I started asking some questions. But so, yeah. And so what they can trigger any program then, because then in the underground facilities and all of that stuff, then there's someone there. Tick, 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 tick. Let's press this button. Let's see what this button does, and let's see what this button does. And then someone goes and they think it's them thinking, and they're actually in real reality and all of that stuff. Because once they do put them through the black goo treatment, it's kind of like it's within their system, so it becomes real. So, and that's why they claim that it's real. But everyone who claims for aliens to be real, I have some sort of invasion of that black goo of one level or another. And so this is when you can see, and this is why a lot of people got upset and called me out for calling out George Kavassilas last time. But this is what I'm telling you. This is why you can't hide that, because when you claim it to be real, okay, when you claim it at first, this is what George Kavassilas did. He claimed that those were real. He took orders from them. He submit to that. Okay? So it's not just like he was tricked. He was taken over by that entity. Okay? So now him as individual gone. Now that chameleon can say, oh, wow, it's people are waking up and figuring out that all of this alien stuff is just an invasion of a human being, because there's alien entities that are present in this reality that are attempting to piggyback on human evolution course and to piggyback on human timeline and move into the future with humanity. Okay? Because they've lost their biological template. So they want to literally move with us as parasites into the future. And so what happens when someone's like that? And then these people are chameleons. They will lie. Whatever they need to, whatever they need to, to say this, change their tactics because they're being found out for who they truly are. Because ultimately, this is all that fly about, different gazillion different aliens. This is also, you're so lost in that you have no time to figure out that they're just running you like a battery source. Amy, you said Teal Swan has a healing center in Costa Rica. Yeah, Costa Rica's interesting place, isn't it? Because a lot of people went to Costa Rica, including George Cavazos, that I just talked of. So what's there, huh? Oh, Black magicians sometimes have meetings too, not just Bilderbergs. She said it. You say, I can't watch Teal. It's the same thing, probably same reason I can't watch. But anyway, I did investigate Teal. Oh my God. And this is what then because they are so disconnected that they only can draw their energy and their source of sort of life experiences. Experiencing life is through others. Okay. And so this is why it's through others. So it's so funny. You said she has a healing clinic, but all she does is making people commit suicide. So much healing. Just suicides, people. Oops, you healed. You healed death. This is how she heals them. She gives them death. Because then this is the programmers, okay? The ones that have gone under this treatment, as I said, then they have the ability to then directly program, because then they have the ability to, they're almost like become of this higher intelligence, right? But it's not living because it's not coming through the heart. It comes through some sort of hello channeling, except in a different mode. Now it comes as an external source of information. Okay. And so just like with everybody, whoever was channeling, right, then that became like, oh, okay, it's just repeating same thing. So people started seeing, right? People started seeing. So that started changing, you guys. That started changing, and they all started, instead of so how does that would apply to standing in your individual power as a creator being in this reality? Well, it doesn't apply channeling, because it just doesn't apply to empowerment. So then, they change the color. They go and do something else. They say something different. They go barefoot. She's gone through a few treatments. So she thinks it's her. But like I said, there's nobody home anymore there. So just let it be. Because there's no, you can't reason with it, with whatever she is. You can't reason with that state, because it's been replaced. You see what I mean? It's been replaced with Nano, because that being there is of that sort. So now can only live or exist or be puffed up, and I'm all this special, through death with her. That's why for her to have that spell going, that's why it require constant. That's why people, after a while, someone commits suicide. Oops, let's move to the next suicide. Let's see what we can do. Who's next? Who's next in line? With Teal Swan to commit suicide. Who's next in line? That's basically what she does. I mean, there's nobody home. MK Ultra at its best, right there. I mean, just listen to what she's talking about. Envision death. Envision death. I mean, are we talking about somebody who's sane, who is enjoying life? It's somebody who is themselves suicidal, and so the suicidal thoughts. But this is very much is an invasion, because it does feed on death, actually, on the living soul energy. So that it's in this is why the possessions and all of that stuff happens too, and then people get all depressed and stuff, and then the possession happens. So ultimately, that it means this is why it's very important to when you're at the stage of possession. And that's why when people wish themselves death, it's obvious that it's the anti-life force that operate in them. So yeah, remote mind control, antiquity. You said it, nano dust, remote mind control. Exactly. I used to say it in 2015. These people are remote controlled out there, they are literally remote controlled. And somebody's on the screen typing in what they can think and how, and all of that stuff. And they're thinking it's their own thinking. Yeah, they're monitoring, but see, the living beings are monitored too, and this is how they read you too on that level too. They have the ability to read too, so not just project, but also to read. So it goes both way. But then so do the living, like I call it the bio quantum computers that human beings are. Then we do that naturally, and this is the natural ability. That's the shamanic ability. So anyway, so when I talk about exploring death and talking about this and then what life, so by that you can see what life is. But then when you're in harmony, in equilibrium, the fear disappears, because you see it then as life, as death, as continuation. And this is kind of that gives you that equilibrium in this life. It continues, life goes on. And so then on an external, life goes on too. So when somebody dies, then you can, as a shaman, help people to move on. Yeah, you said barefoot. Yes, literally, exactly, remote controlling. Yeah. Yep. That's basically what's happening. And this is what I talk about. And it goes on all levels. This is just not happening out there and, with suicides is just one of the things. And suicides have been, lately, there's even been in, my vicinity, and a lot of that happening. And so, but also there's all these other things, and because this is what happens with all the, just look back. I said they're not going to do anything different. Just look back what they did in the 90s with the those that ran the alien programs. Well, they drink a Kool-Aid, put up purple blankets on themselves, and wear Nike shoes, and they drink a Kool-Aid, and drink poison, and all die. And so, and that's what happens. And this is one of the signs that I talk about, you guys, is those shifty shift eyes. That's the sign of that remote control. Those are the remote controlled. Thank you, Barefoot. You said you're so intelligent. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate your seeing y- that means a lot. I see many aliens every day, illegal aliens pressure. That's funny. Yep, yep. But anyway, so basically, check out Jacques Vallée, like I said last time, and you talk about the alien conspiracy. It's a conspiracy of the sort, but it is a spiritual invasion. It goes deep, 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 and this is where we touch on, Satanism and all of that stuff, and why it exists, and why they do what they do. But you'll understand all that why now from this perspective too. So I'm kind of giving you the other side to this, and hopefully you guys all enjoying this, because I'm talking through this myself, because as I'm going through all these experiences in my life, dealing with life, death, and is it aliens? Is it God, or is it eternity? Is it another life, or what is it? But all of those are possibilities, and for people that wanted to be trapped in that agenda and serve that agenda, alien agenda, um well, they have the free will to choose so. But and this is where it comes, like when people say, well, the reptilians have to tell you what they do. Well, it kind of makes sense when you get to the point that ultimately a living being always knows that it is up to him to choose, right? So this is kind of like it gives you the whole different perspective. And then all of that, you know, it doesn't really matter, right? Which one? And and which one is good and which one is bad. So going back to my great example of someone who can be a great chameleon and playing this game, this reptilian game, okay, playing reptilian game, but everybody's thinking that, oh, he's doing so good, he's doing so good for us, he's helping. So as an example, I'll show you, right? So then it changed, right? There's good ones, good aliens, then there's bad aliens. Do you need more examples of who up that it's a remote control human being with him? You see the fruits yourself. All you have to do is look back. Being honest and being yourself in equilibrium, then you'll see straight through it. Because once you attain that equilibrium yourself, like I said, nothing can be, you can't be get lost. Is it the good aliens that let me down, or was it the bad aliens that let me down and made me, give you BS just so you can give me some of your emotions so I can feel all godly here? You know what I mean? So for those of you that are still upset about that, do your own research. Look back. Are you in equilibrium yourself when you're looking back at what happened there? Can you see? Do you have the eyes to see? Do you have the ears to hear when you look back and say, okay, there was a stage with George that it was all about aliens are here to do this, 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 and this. So he started with slave mentality. Then he claimed that he grew from that and he realized that it was not good to listen to those because they let him down. They lied to him. Okay. Then he started trusted somebody else. Then the Mother Earth program started running, didn't it? Just exactly what I warned people that he would in 2011. When I revealed him, his thing changed. And even though he sent people to destroy me, he still copied the Earth Soul group material and presented as Mother Earth now. Now it was Mother Earth program that he ran, which exactly what I said that it will happen. That somebody will run that program. And he came, rose his out there. What about Randy? Randy goes back to Randy goes back to way deeper. It goes back to even Christianity and all of that stuff. And so Randy is fully controlled too. I mean, come on. It's pretty obvious. And that whole thing is whole another story. But for now, I'm going to finish with that because I actually have to go, you guys, soon. So yeah, she said it. You said, of course, they are not true creators. They have to get materials elsewhere. So yeah, and this is their tactics. It didn't change. In 2011, that's exactly what he did. He sent people to smear me and to, tell everybody else that there was a campaign to tell everybody else that I was this, that, or that. And then they send all kinds of people pretending to be my friends or the ones that are, pretending to be on my side and all of that. And then, someday my God, it's definitely a book. He was in it too. Yes, Barefoot, and that girlfriend of his, Sarah. Oh my God. Dumber than a doorknob. All right, Deanne. Well, George, I still didn't listen to that. I just saw a picture of it, and that's all I needed to see to know why he's there. Why he's there with Chris Blab of Fat. I knew exactly why he was there. And so, but anyway, you guys, it is what it is. You have to look at it yourself. If you don't have within you, or if you don't have the ability to kind of look and say, this is someone who's been constantly doing something, is claiming that, it's them, but he always claimed that it's them. But yet the results were with George, many people, like I said last time, can testify that he harvests their energy. And so for people to say, how dare you, Lily, calling George out on this, excusez-moi, I've got evidence. And so if you can't see it and you still under the spell to think that it's helpful for you, well, there's nothing. You have to have your own vision in equilibrium for you to see that it's always been control. It's just chameleons. That's all there are. Chameleons. So anyway, you guys, this is just what it is. So you can, call me out on something that you either didn't research or you have absolutely no eyes to see, but yet everyone else around you is actually can see. So you can do that. And plus, I have my own personal experience that I have the right to share how it is from my perspective. And so, and by the way, I also do keep everything offline, all the records. So it's just, it is what it is, you guys, because you have to with these clowns out there. You have to. Hi, Anthony. Thank you for joining. I'm actually closing out. So thank you, everyone. Darcy, thank you for, she said it. Thank you, Amy, Darcy. Thank you, Diane. Thank you again for being here. Thank you so much. So now, a living, true human being that is the universal seed in this reality, experiencing its own life, which is eternity. So, welcome to eternity, shamans, and let's make it beautiful, happy, joyful. So, until next time, you guys stay wild and follow your joy, everyone. Mwah. Bye.